Let's go ahead and use the startup menu on the PeDesign layout and editing. Click that and it's going to open PeDesign, and you'll see that it opened it in the same manner that it opened from the icon on top of the desktop with the wizard. You can choose to close the wizard, but I usually go in and set my hoop size first. Today I would like to have you create some samples to put in a 3-ring binder. So I'm going to use an 8x12 hoop from the desktop or single needle machine. Click OK there. And I usually choose cotton fabric since that's what I usually do my embroidery on. So OK. You'll see that I have a grid work on this 8x12 hoop. You get that under this View tab. It's checked Show Grid with axis, and I've got it at 1-inch intervals. You can change whatever dimensions you want, but having a grid work sometimes helps in design so that you line things up. Up here there's Solid Stitch and Realistic View. When you use Realistic View, it takes more effort for your computer to generate the picture, so it takes longer. Usually I'd recommend you work with solids at first, but so that you can actually see what I'm doing today, I'm going to leave it on realistic. I'm going to go to the Home tab and choose a shape. I want to draw this rectangular shape and I want to fill this page with it. So I'm going to first draw the shape, but I want all of these to be the same size. Let's make a running stitch on the outside and go to the Home tab again, go to the word size. I know I don't have the aspect ratio correctly here, so I'm going to make them 1.5 inches square. So I'll make my samples that way. I want to have 4 across, so I'm going to go to the word copy and I'll paste it, and when I copy and paste it lines up right on top of each other, so I will have to move one over, and now I actually could copy and paste 2 of them, but first let me see how they're off kilter. There's an arrange method where you can line them so they all match on the top, which that does, and now I can copy and paste those 2. They're on top of each other, but move them over. And I can make sure they're all lined up here. Go back to that arrange, and I'll line those up with their top. So we have a row of red. I want to do this in the arrangement of rainbow colors so that I know when I stitch this out what's the top and the bottom. I'm going to copy this whole group again and paste it. Whoops. And now we have duplicates, so I'll move that paste one down a row, and I'll change that to orange color. I'm going to paste again. It's still going to be the red that comes up. Move that down. Make that one yellow. Paste again. Green. Okay, and so right now this design is 6.97 inches wide and it's 10.35 tall. I think that will work. So now let's go about what we've got. So we've got this red, and when you have the black boxes around it and you go to shapes, this has a black running stitch outline, and it's got the fill stitch fill in there. But I'd like to do the different fill stitch, so let's put a satin fill in that one. Let's go over to this one. We'll leave that the fill stitch. We'll go to this one. We're going to put the stitch in that's the programmed fill. Now the thing with the program fill is there are so many more choices than just that. When I have this program fill here, and you can kind of see it here, it's in a twill pattern, but under sewing attributes are all the programs. So this top part is the line property, and the bottom is the fill stitch. I have it checked with an underfill, and it's medium. The density, it's 114 lines per inch. This is at a 45-degree rotation. I want to leave all of these at 0. So I'm going to put that on 0. And it might change the look up here. Okay, it did. But what it is this programmable fill has this file folder full of many different designs, and the first one happens to be this herringbone look, but you see we have 4 across, so I want to eventually go into filling these up across with the different programmable fill, but right now we're just doing the default from this drop down menu. So we got the programmable fill. This one I want to put the piping stitch in. So we're done with row 1. So in row 2, let's use the next kind of outline. So we had running stitch. Let's go to satin stitch for the outlines in row 2. And click back. We're here for the fill stitch, and we've done down to the piping. Now we're to the motif stitch. This again, just like the programmable fill, is lots of different choices. So I click on it, and see it's got a file folder that opens up over here under sewing attributes, and it has this little flower. You'll see that's the first one there. Okay, we'll go to the next one, and going down this, we're at the cross stitch. Go to the next one. Should be on concentric circles. The next one is radial stitch. Okay. So my third row down, I'd like to change the outline. We've done the straight stitch and the satin. Let us, under shapes, go down to the triple stitch. And we'll do single with the fills. We were last at the radial. This is the spiral satin. This one is the flexible spiral satin. The next one is a stipple. The next one is the net fill. And notice with the net fill, it has these three different shapes. So let's go ahead and do the triangle one in the next box and this one in the following. So we're on our green row. And first I'd like to make all of the outlines be the next outline here with stem stitch. So this fill under shapes is going to be the net fill, but instead of the default, we're going to make it the triangular one. This one again will be the net fill, but it will be this square with the X through it. This one will be the zigzag net fill. So here it again has loads of choices, and you might recognize this one. And that's rather big, so let's take that down to a 2.0. Should have checked the maintain ratio when I was changing that size. And now we're to the next row, and this is where we'll start becoming very different with our outline. I'm going to select the same basic thing for the outline, and we're going to go down to the motif stitches, and it's going to put all of them the same at first, but we'll change them. If you notice, the motif stitch on here matches the fill stitch up here because they both come from the same basic drawings, but the motif is a line fill. I think this 0.48 inches is pretty large, so let us keep that but take it down to maybe a 0.2 for our stitch out. And that's pretty small. Let's maybe try the 0.3. There we go. And this one, let's change this to the next choice. Change this one to the third choice. And this one to the fourth choice. And that's at 0.73. Let's take that down to 0.32. Now maybe 0.4.